Oh, on a summer's day, when the sea was rippled by a soft and gentle breeze, a ship set sail for a harbor laden to a port beyond the seas. What is more beautiful than a seagoing liner? One of man's most magnificent creations. Poets, writers, painters have all been drawn to a painted ship on a painted ocean.
Oh, that's going to be a great picture. You know, it's traditional to take an embarkation picture before you set off on a great voyage. And I have just photographed you. It's going to be frozen in time like a fly in amber forever. The day you went off on that wonderful cruise. Yes, folks, we're about to embark on one of the great American dreams. I mean, current American dreams. It's Love Boat. It's going to be, the band is playing, Miami is disappearing into the distance, and we're heading for the Caribbean aboard the beautiful Emerald Seas. It's Love Boat. Love Boat. And you're along.
Love, exciting and new. Come aboard. We're expecting you, and love, life's sweetest reward. Let it flow. It floats back to you. It's the love boat. It's the love boat.
Love Boat? Too sure.
It's the love boat. It's love.
How lovely she sails through the blue seas. But you can't forget there's the sea around us. And the sea is no friend of man. To these simple souls, it's probably just a game. To the sea, mothers, joggers, the lonely, the sleepy, the bored, the drinkers. Yes, they while away the time, the searchers after ecstasy and fun. And sun. And top deck, of course, the hula hoop still lives. Shuffleboard, the combat arena of the aging. Below decks, with names like Sun Deck, Emerald Deck, Topaz Deck. The staterooms, fresh fruit, champagne. Paneled walls. Better we should say bulkheads. Soft, luxurious, down-filled. Beds of ease. It's a little like a heavyweight champion fighter disguised as a head waiter. And the Emerald Seas sails on with dignity, sailing under her alias. She knows her real name. She was one of 12 ships, troop ships, built in 1943 in Kearney, New Jersey. There she goes down the waves. The General W.P. Richardson, off to the wars. And now, her alias, proudly emblazoned on her stacks, Emerald Seas. She still sails. Her passengers are a little different. Maybe there's an old ex-Marine sitting there. Here's a guy who might have gone ashore at Saipan. That old gentleman down on the front there. He's probably heard a few shots fired in anger. That stormy ocean where many of her sister ships lie forever in the deep. The W.P. Richardson sails on. First captain of the W.P. Richardson, they say, has been sighted. Striding the corridors, high on the bridge late at night. Remembering the days when the W.P. Richardson was painted a Navy girl. And she sailed at night with her lights darkened into a sea of infinite peril. That first warrior captain of the General W.P. Richardson, now the Emerald Seas. What would he tell us? What sights has he seen? What horrors has he lived?
Things have changed. But the old ship goes on. The ship of the Navy. And we sailed into the seas of war in those days. We weren't out for fun. We weren't out for games. We were out for something bigger than that. The General W.P. Richardson sailed in stormy seas.
A vast armada, a convoy. Destroyers, subs. Many of my friends went down. One brief, instant, devastating flash, they were gone. Somehow they missed us.
Submarine attacks, kamikazes, everything that the navies of the world could throw at us, they threw at us. And you know, one of the memories I have of those days for the old General Richardson, 1,000 men all lined up holding their mess kits in their hands down the second deck below the top deck, all waiting in line for their chow. which sometimes was just oatmeal and maybe hot coffee, maybe a slice of bacon. They'd wait in line for hours, and the ship is roaring through the seas. 1,000 of them waiting to eat. That's the way they ate on this ship. Of course, while that 1,000 were waiting for their food, there was another 1,000 lining the other rail, throwing their breakfast or their dinner into the sea. Those were tough days. Those were tough men.
Goodbye, Mama. I'm off to Yokohama for the red, white, and blue. My country and you. Goodbye,
Innocent,
Mama. I'm off to Yokohama.
idealistic.
All those Japs, the Yanks are no saps.
They wanted to do their part.
Sons of Uncle Sam, if you please.
Marines,
All those Japs right down
soldiers,
on their Japanese.
sailors,
So goodbye, Mama. I'm off to
they marched to war,
Yokohama for my
and we
country,
carried
my
them to the
flag
battlefield.
and you. So goodbye, Mama. I'm off to Yokohama for my country, my flag, and you.
Those were tough men. The General W.P. Richardson. She's had 6 different names. She sailed under different flags. Now she's sailing in quiet seas down in the Caribbean as the Emerald Sea. Hard to believe it. Times have changed. People have changed. The crew has changed. The games have changed. My God, things aren't what they used to be. And if I was captain aboard this ship today, I'd snap this crowd into condition. I'd have them moving.
Boy, I feel like I'm playing blind man's bluff.
We're going to let you find your husband's horns, okay?
Oh, yeah.
From the knees down.
From the knees down.
Yes, where else did you
That'll
think?
be different.
He's ticklish.
What do you think of these? What kind of legs are you looking for? Smoother.
And there's today's captain. But that's my bridge,
Will I hit 4? How's I hit 7?
my wheel.
Okay, ladies and gents, let's go for bingo. The first game will be any line, any direction, or the 4 corners of your card. N35.
In my day, no credit cards, no pandas, no teddy bears, no roulette. We had plenty of cards shuffled to keep your mind off what you were going to do.
We didn't have many fun things. We didn't have many games. In fact, the only thing I can remember aboard the General Richardson that was called fun was the chief bosun mate. He was an engineer, first class. Never forget him, Smitty. Had a checkerboard. But we did have one entertainment, and I'll tell you this. Our entertainer officer, in fact, he was the head of all entertainment aboard the ship, was what we called the gunnery officer. Lieutenant commander, he had a couple of 5-inch batteries under his command, a couple of twin 40s and a couple of 220s. And every once in a while, the entertainment would break out, and I'll tell you, it was exciting.
Have you ever felt the thunder and the roar of twin 40s, of quad 20s under the feet as you try to keep your head straight on with that roar and that crash?
booming. The ship bucked like a wild horse, like a bronco. When all those guns took off at once and the kamikazes roared over the fantail. The destroyers fought the submarines all around us. The 6-inch shells blossomed out like great chrysanthemums. Thunderous, deadly chrysanthemums. The carriers sent their fighters off to cover us from air attacks.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Gong Show time. Come up and join us now for the Gong Show.
In the Blue Ridge Mountains of the yard stood a cow on the railroad track. She was a good old cow with eyes so fine. But how do you expect But how do you expect a cow to read a railroad sign? Horns in the mountains of Virginia, and her tail on that lonesome pine.
Down below decks, those troops would sleep restlessly. They didn't know where they were going, most of them. They'd sit and play cards, talk. Once in a while, I'd go down and just listen to them, because I knew that a lot of them were going on a one-way trip. I guess you'd say they were tourists, sort of. Did you know that the island of Bougainville is named after a Frenchman, Bougainvillea? And they called it that because those lovely flowers blossom just off the sand where many died. And today on the seas, the food is lush, the sauces are rich, the wines are heady. In my day, it was K-rations. Baked beans, undercooked and overdone. Spam sandwiches. On bread, a little moldy around the edges. Hot, scalding coffee night and day. Dessert? Watery jello, which you drank out of an aluminum cup. Things have changed. Ah, peace. God, we've taken thousands, Shep. You know, many of them even sail today aboard the Emerald Sea and don't even know that it was the old W.P. Richardson that took them into Iwo Jima, or took them into San Lo, took them into North Africa. And when they went ashore, they didn't go ashore like today's tourists, looking for funny hats made out of straw, looking for souvenirs and Swiss watches that they pay maybe $5 less than they'd get it for on 6th Avenue in New York. It's a different kind of tourist. Oh, let me tell you, they went ashore on some beautiful tropical islands in those days. Temperature 110 degrees. Heavy bombardment roaring in overhead. Japanese fire coming out of the foxholes. Bone-tired. Weary comprehension. These tourists struggled ashore.
And now, more than a few of them who have known the roar of BARs, the crash of mortars, wander their waistlines bulging, with clean memories of the swamps of youth. The death of friends. Men still carry those wounds as they limp on shore from the Emerald Seas. Another veteran, just like they are. From the Emerald Seas.
Oh, I can't deny it. I'm proud of the old W.P. Richardson. In fact, I'm even proud of the fact that she's sailing today as the Emerald Seas, carrying ladies off on trips to the Caribbean islands, honeymooners, all those people that are just having fun on that quiet Caribbean ocean. Oh, but you know, throughout all the years, this ship has never lost her memories, I'm sure of that. The W.P. Richardson, she's had 6 names, now the Emerald Sea, but she hasn't lost her memories of brave men who wore all those tin hats and carried all those rifles, and went ashore on all those strange islands, the South Pacific, Iwo Jima, Saipan, Guam, Tinian, strange places like San Nazaire, places like Normandy and Saint-Lô. She remembers, and you know, there's a rumor that the first skipper of the old General W.P. Richardson, now walks the decks of the Emerald Seas late at night, dressed in my combat gear, carrying my charts, my combat binoculars, and once in a while I stop by and taste one of the hors d'oeuvres, maybe even play a dollar slot machine just for good luck, and to salute all my old shipmates. I ain't denying it. Maybe I'm there, maybe I'm not. But the Richardson sails on. She'll be sailing after the year 2000. And by God, I'll be there in memory, along with all my old shipmates and the thousands of men we carried in our holds to the wars that America fought. Sleep well, shipmates. Sleep well.
The Japanese have accepted our terms fully. That's the word we've just received from the White House in Washington. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of the Second World War. The United Nations, on land, on the sea, in the air, and to the 4 corners of the earth, are united and are victorious. We got that information on the